All right, and we are back. Welcome to the podcast. You know what it is? It's Catching Up with Kate, episode 14, I think, 13. I'm getting really good at remembering this. Once you pass a certain threshold, it's like, I ain't remembering all that. I'm not gonna remember. And I'm pretty sure I made a mistake on one of the previous episodes, and I luckily caught it. And I don't know if the most recent one is accurate on the number, so cheers to that. Hopefully, I remember to change it if it needs to be changed. Alright, so I have just uploaded the video of like the big hair reveal, so that's what happened. And this is gonna be like one of the truest catching up with Kate episodes ever because we are actually catching up with like what I did on the weekend. So it's like the first of its kind. All the other times have just been like talking about so and so having like allegations or like general like news stuff. And today, I think it's gonna be all about me today. I don't have anything else planned. I'm gonna go through my weekend and like how like this all happened. And I think that if you've seen the other video, then and maybe like my Instagram stories, then you might know that I'm not really particularly pleased with what's happened here. I'm actually quite disappointed and angry, actually. Yeah. So we're going to be going through that, and we're also going to be discussing uh, hairstylist red flags or something. Something like that. I'm going between hairstylist, hair salon, hairdresser. I don't really know what word to use because they all, frankly, don't sound very good. They're annoying to say. So, um, maybe I'll just say hairdresser. I feel like hairdressers, like, I guess better. They all kind of suck as, like, describing words. So, that's my little, funny moment, I guess. And yeah, so I guess let's jump right into it, I suppose. Let's see. I have had a really shit weekend. I had a horrible time. Weekends are supposed to be like the time where you have a nice break from like the working week, you relax, you unwind, you do self care and all that crap. But I pose a question to you. What do you do when the self care becomes uh the opposite, I guess, the not so helpful version of self care? I ask you, what do you do then? So, I'll start off with this. Friday was like the day that I went to get my hair done. Um, it started off really nicely. I was excited. I wasn't really nervous or anxious. I was living for it. I was doing so much research leading up to it, going, what hair color in the shade of like red would suit like, the way I look? Looking up all sorts of things, getting like reference pictures because it's really important that when you go to a hairstylist or whatever the fuck, um, you give them some sort of like frame of reference so that they can pick and choose and stuff like that. Ideally, that's what's supposed to happen. Now, a little resume of like my hair experience just before we get into the specifics. I've had my hair done professionally a couple of times before. The last time I had it done, I had highlights done, blonde like highlights, and that was done I think 2019, so quite a few years ago. And then in 2022, I had it cut to like shoulder length, so I went from having really fucking long hair to having just shoulder length hair. Okay? I just want to make that clear. The person who did my highlights last time, the professional goddess, she was a queen, honestly. I loved her. I love her. Um, because she just did such a great job. It was one of those times where I actually felt like I just felt so beautiful and I felt so awesome. I think that was a funny experience because coming out of the salon at that time, I was like, oh, is this too much? This doesn't look good, I don't think. But then when I got home and after like, I guess like a few days, I was like, this is awesome. Total opposite experience of what I had with this thing. So I've had experience with like a professional who actually knows their stuff, and you can tell when I think you can tell pretty easily when someone knows what they're doing and when someone's kind of just like, ugh, is it an off day or are they just not good at what they do? And I think looking back, I was so angry. Like Saturday night, me and Caleb were like trying to go to sleep, and I just kept saying, oh, and then this happened, and then I saw this, and then I just turned my head and went, yeah, that's probably fine. And then I was just realizing all these things that I think in retrospect were kind of red flags, and I ignored them. So, you know, yeah, that's kind of what's been happening in my head at the moment, and I'm just going to preface this by saying I am going to be bitching a lot this episode. Like, I'm probably going to be very negative, critical, and I'm going to say sorry in advance. I know how, like, annoying that can be to listen to. It's not exactly going to be uplifting to hear. It's not going to be like a success story or whatever. But I will say that after this episode, I'm done with it. I just need to get my bitch out. I just need. Look, listen, think of it like this: when the chicken wants to get to the other side, it has to walk to the other side. You know what I'm saying? So I need to go walk on the negative side in order to get to the positive part, okay? Okay. Glad we can establish that. Okay, I need a place to put my cup. Ugh. Hold on, hold on. Ugh. There we go. Hide my shame. So, um, let's get started. Friday, yes. So, I go to the salon and I'm there like 10 minutes early. The woman's like, you know what? 10-minute wait. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. My appointment's at 1. It's 12:50. Sure. That's fine. And immediately the atmosphere was so nice. It was actually the girl who I'm going to call the assistant, and we'll get into that later. The assistant kind of goes like, "Oh, would you like tea or coffee?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, you guys offer tea and coffee here? That's kind of legendary." I think that's like, ooh. I said no because I think I just brushed my teeth, and I also wasn't really sure if I should accept tea and coffee from like a place I don't really know all too well. Like I don't know the standard of hygiene there. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like I'd rather know you more. I'd like to get to know you more before I accept any beverages from like out back where I don't know what the standards are, you know? So, yeah, they sit me down in the chair. The owner, who is like running the business obviously, and I guess she does the hair. We'll get into that too. She says to me, "What do you want?" So I says, "Here's a picture." And actually, I'm going to write down what time this is because I want to show you the picture of what I wanted. Um, 8 minutes. Yes. And I'll show you the picture of what I wanted over like here. So I says, this is what I want. This is what I want. Can you get me this? Lovely. So she goes, yep, she goes and gets her little book that has all the like, I guess, what is it, like the example hairs or whatever the fuck. And she's like pointing to one of them and she's like, I think this one. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, yeah, if you think that's what is if yeah, if that's what's gonna get me to that, then sure, okay? I don't fucking know. I'm not a hairdresser. I don't fucking know this shit. I just said I want this, get me this. And then she was like, yeah, this one. And then she goes out in the back and she's like, oh, well, it's going to be a little bit redder than what you wanted. Is that okay? And so I go, yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't really know how that's going to look, but yeah, I mean, I guess at that point I should have been like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What? What the frick? Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where, like, in the moment, being asked that question, I'm already having a difficult time, by the way, because I realized that I am so uncomfortable in hairdresser settings because they sit you in front of this giant ass mirror and then they look at you through the mirror and you have to look back and talk to them back like that. And I've just realized that the amount of eye contact it actually requires is deeply, deeply uncomfortable for me. And I like actually felt so upset in the moment because I was like, why can't I just like look them in the face and act normal? Why can't I just be having a normal interaction? Like there's no possible way for me to like interact with them that's not in a way that like looks kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? So I was feeling very self-conscious already, and I had like all my makeup on. The assistant and the I don't know, the owner were like both talking about my eyelashes and saying that they like them and stuff, and I still felt like a nervous wreck talking to anybody. And then, oh my god, to make it even worse, well, not worse, but there was this girl sitting next to me who's like a high schooler, and she like looks at me and she's like, "Are you getting your hair done?" And I was like, "Oh my god, someone's talking to me in public." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting my hair done." She's like, "Are you going to your formal too?" And I was like, girl, I am an adult. Quite flattering, I guess. No, she was really sweet. She was going to her formal, she was getting her hair done, she looked great, and she was so nice. Then she was like, "Are you in university?" And I was like, "No." And then she was like, "Oh." And that's kind of where the conversation stopped, and I was already thinking about that in my head, like, oh fuck, oh fuck. I feel like I failed that interaction. I feel like if this was like Fallout, I have like negative charisma when it comes to public talking. So after that has happened, that's when the woman's showing me the hair thing. So I'm already in my head thinking about a whole bunch of other stuff, and she's asking me if like a little bit. She said a little bit more red than like what you want. To me, in my head, I'm still getting the same lightness. It's just gonna have like a redder tinge to it, which is going to fade. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it being a little bit red. Uh, right, right. So she gets her assistant to do the whole job, and I have to say, the assistant, she was wonderful. She was working so hard. She was in charge. She was like working in on like three different people's hair, including mine, and she was doing all of the hard work. It's just that there were certain things that she couldn't do. So I think just judging her based on like how she handled my hair, I don't think she's like a fully licensed cosmetologist kind of like hairdresser person. I don't think she has any licensing. I don't think she's had any formal training. I think that she might just be like a apprentice or trainee, which God bless her. You have to start somewhere, right? Like totally, totally understand it. I don't blame her for anything because I think that she's just doing so much more work than she's probably getting paid for. Let's be honest. I don't know the facts. I'm just making judgments based on like what I saw, and because I've been treated by like professionals before, I feel like I kind of know the difference, and the difference was quite apparent. So, anyway, the assistant, she's lovely. She's getting everything ready. Um the the boss lady, she's the one who like mixes the dye, which is like, okay, cool. At least she's doing something, I guess. And then when it comes down to the next part, which is like applying the dye, the assistant does everything. The the woman who like is the owner, the only time she touched my hair was when it was the end, when they have to like wet it and then like blow dry it. And they do that like special technique with the blow dryer. Bitch, anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. I can do that. You just need the right tools. Sorry. And so she only effectively touched my hair at the end when everything was done. Okay? Cool. I mean, I guess I kind of expected someone professional to be handling my hair, especially a coloring job, but she really didn't do anything practical. And then even then, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the assistant, she starts from the roots, then she goes all the way down to the length. She takes a while to do it because I think she's still like learning. It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I think her method of application was fine. Probably way better than what I could do. Okay? So, kudos to her, right? I think that they must have like overbooked or something, or I don't know what it was, but she was so busy because after she'd done my hair, she had to wash someone else's hair and then do some other stuff. And I was sitting in the chair with the dye in my hair for an hour and a half. Almost 2 hours, the dye was sitting in my hair. I was keeping track of the time, and I think, past an hour, I was like, okay, any minute now they're gonna be like, wash her hair. No, it took an extra half an hour, 30 minutes for the owner to be like, assistant, can you please wash her hair, please? I'm pretty sure the assistant was about to go on break too or something. Because, oh my god, it's just, it's a disaster. Let me tell you something. From every experience that I've had, hair dye doesn't go in your hair for any longer than like 30 to maybe 50 minutes. Hair dye doesn't hair dye doesn't do that. You're not supposed to do that because all hair dyes will have like a recommended time to keep it in because that's what's been tested. That's like the predictable results. And if hair dye is in any longer than what is recommended, it can have unpredictable results. And I have to say, you might not see much of like a craziness because the screens that you're looking on can have different coloring. The thing that I'm recording on could have different color recording. And I have to say that in person, after I got home, I looked in the mirror and I went, wait, what the fuck? Because the top of my head is like a completely different color to the ends of my hair. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't because it's just not. Like, look at this. Look. Look at this. The ends of my hair look the same as they did before. I'm not even joking. Or maybe if I grab like the inside parts and then I go, whoop, look at that shit. It's completely fucking different. And in real life, it looks way more stark in contrast, I'm telling you. Like, oh, okay, so I'm sitting in the chair, it's been an hour and a half, I'm finally getting my hair washed, which is like, yay, that's supposed to be like the best part of getting your hair done, right? They do like the scalp massage, they really take care of it, and I'm not gonna lie, this is where the assistant was kind of assisting. Where she was doing my hair, I was lying back in the bowl, she was doing my hair and she was going like oh my god, I'm going like red in the face. She was going like she was going crazy with it. She was going so hard that my head was literally going backwards and forwards on like on the bowl. And at one point she was like, am I being too rough? And I'm like, no, it's okay. And then, not to mention the massage part of it, she like did a little bit of like the back of my neck, and then that was kind of it. I don't really expect it to be part of the whole thing because I know it's like, I don't know how common it is for hairdressers to include like a slight little scalp massage with the wash, but I just remember when I had the professional do it a few years ago, that's what they did. They did like the whole shebang and it was awesome. It was so nice. And that's just not what I got here. So it was quite rough, I must say. And to add on to that, before they started doing the hair dye, the assistant was like brushing my hair, and oh my god, this was like the first really, really red flag where I was like, oh, I don't think this is okay. And she started brushing my hair from the top down to the bottom. And if you've done any kind of research on this kind of stuff, that is a huge fucking no-no. You do not start you do not start brushing from the top of the scalp to the bottom of like the hair, because the problem with that is that that does not get rid of the knots. It rips hair out, it damages your hair to no freaking end. And it was so rough. It was like I get that my hair was kind of knotty, and to be fair, I totally forgot to brush it before I went. And so I can see how, like, yeah, maybe I should have done that beforehand. But there is no excuse for being that rough with hair and also not brushing it the correct way. Like, now, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if like maybe that's like what hairdressers do. Maybe they have to do it for some certain reason. They have to like do it from the top to the bottom instead of from the bottom to the top. Maybe it takes more time and so they have to be like kind of quick with it. But in saying that, it's like I'm not paying you to I guess unnecessarily damage my hair. I get that dyeing my hair is going to damage it 100%. That's unavoidable, but I'm also not wanting you to rip out my fucking hair. So that was kind of iffy for me. It left a really like uneasy feeling. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's actually like standard practice. I'm not really sure because this is the fucking reason why I never go to the hairdressers in the first place. So, after having the hair washed, I can kind of see that it's like it looks kind of nice, and I'm like, "Oh, I like that. The color's nice, and it's not too much of like whatever. I like it." And so the assistant's blow drying my hair just enough, and then once it's like dry enough, the boss lady comes over and she does like the strategy where you like blow dry and you're using the fluffy brush and then you're going that kind of stuff. I've done that before. It is so good. Oh my god. I need to get a blow dryer. I need a blow dryer. Oh my god. Yeah, anyway. Um yeah, so she blow dries my hair and then she's like, "You don't need anything else, right?" And I'm like, no. And then in the mirror in the salon, I'm kind of looking at my hair and I'm putting on a smile because I'm like, ah. And I'm kind of thinking internally to myself, I don't know if this looks the way I imagined it would look. Yeah, yeah. And like once again, maybe I'll put up the example again because it's a bit lighter in the room now. What is it? 22 minutes. I'll put up the example of like what I wanted, what I got. I think that the tinge of like redness isn't really what's bothering me as much. I think one, it's the what do you call it? It's the weird tone up here versus down here that's bothering me, but it's also the fact that it's not the lightness that I wanted. And when I was talking to Caleb about this, he was saying like, "Oh, did they bleach it at all first before doing it? Like if you wanted it much lighter, they'd probably need to bleach your hair because I have like ashy brown hair." But according to the hairdresser, I have very light hair to begin with, so it's actually not all that necessary, I suppose. So I guess there's that, which kind of surprised me to be honest. I always thought that my hair is kind of even naturally at its like light brownishness. I still wonder if like bleaching it first might have been better because I don't know. But then again, that's why I'm paying a professional to do it because it's like surely they know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. I can't be sitting there being like, "Oh, you're gonna bleach it, right?" Yeah, like I'm gonna tell them how to do their fucking job. They should know how to do it themselves, right? So, oh, and here's another thing that happened. There was a woman who was sitting there before I came in, and then I sat next to her when it was my time, and she was getting her hair done by the boss lady, and the boss lady made a comment about the cut of her hair, and she was like, "Your haircut's very interesting. Where did you get it done?" And she's like, "Oh, a place like over here," and she's like, "Oh, okay, that's very interesting." And then the woman can like I guess said, "Oh, but these things I had to do myself." And then the boss lady laughs and goes, "Haha, yes, I can see that. I can see that you had to do it yourself. It's very obvious." And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, that's kind of fucking rude, isn't it? I don't know how well these people know each other. Maybe they know each other kind of well, but I think that it just gave a very, like, unprofessional vibe, you know? And this has been like a talk of contention for a lot of like hairstylists lately because I'm on hairstylist TikTok sometimes. And there are people who will make comments about like their clients' haircuts and be like, "Oh, it's very uneven, it's very not good." And I think that given the current economical climate, a lot of people are opting to cut their hair themselves because it's just it's a luxury that a lot of people cannot afford. And I think that as a luxury service, you should acknowledge that that's not available to everyone. That's not something that everyone can do. And so I think that to hear someone being like, "Yeah, I can tell that your hair's shit." She's basically saying your hair's shit and I can tell. And I just think that if you're a hairdresser and you can tell something like that, just don't say anything. Just don't. Like what's the point? What's the fucking point? They can tell that their hair's probably not the most professionally done. Why do you have to tell them that, yeah, I can tell your hair's shit? Hmm? I don't get it. And I personally thought that that was quite a weird vibe. Okay, so let me add some more details. Um, so as I'm sitting out there with the dye in my hair for like a whole fucking hour and a half, at some point I think past like 40 minutes, the boss lady is finally not doing anything. She's the last client just left. There's no one else coming in for a bit, I think. So she sits down in the chair next to me and she starts doing her own hair and styling her own hair. And then I think her sister or something came in and they started yapping about stuff and then they were talking about clip-in extensions, and I guess she had done a balayage on her sister's extensions, and then her sister's sitting in the chair next to her, and she's curling these extensions, and they're just yapping away and talking. Okay, and then during this time, they're kind of just doing their own thing, and then the assistant is doing all of the work. The assistant is doing like all these other things. She's cleaning up. She's cleaning up the hair clippings on the floor. She's cleaning the hair washing station. So there is some sanitary uh satisfaction, I think. I think there's some okay, good job. But it's just like so crazy to see like the assistant is just doing everything all by herself in my point of view. I think that she's having to do a lot of work, honestly. And I think that that kind of also made me think like, ooh, kind of gave me like oof vibes. And then to add on to that, I have to I have to go through this like little checklist because I don't want to forget anything. But poor hygiene. Let's see. I wanted to look up what are the red flags that might indicate that a professional establishment might not be as professional as you think. Now, the first thing is like poor hygiene and cleanliness. Now, we've established that there is some sanitization happening. There is some sweeping up. I did, however, notice when at one point I had to look up at the ceiling because my hair was being like dragged down back so much, and I was like, ooh, ooh. And I noticed that the air vent directly above me was caked in dust. It was so dusty. It was quite gross, to be honest. It's like it looked like one of those normal like house vents too, and I was like thinking to myself, how does something like that get so dusty and like no one cleans it at all? That's pretty disgusting. Now, another thing about hygiene and cleanliness, another thing I noticed is that they had a fish bowl on the reception desk that was like kind of like I don't know how to describe how big it was, but it had two fish in it and it had a goldfish and one some type of like brown fish with a beautiful like tail, like an angelfish kind of, but it was just like browny kind of black, and it had like eyes going on at the sides, like really bulgy eyes. The fish were very cute, but I am so saddened to report that I don't think they were living in good conditions. The bowl looked clean, but the bowl itself was just full of those like pebble ground stuff, and then it had a water filter that was going, obviously, but that was it. That's the only living conditions that those fish are in, is that they're just in a plain bowl swimming in fucking circles, probably cramped. I think they need way more room than what they had. And they had nothing fun to like swim with. They didn't have any of those like little kelp thingies or anything. They just go around in circles, and I'm pretty sure that fucking brown big fish was kind of bullying the goldfish a bit. So anyway, I just wanted to say that that was also like something I looked at and I thought, well, surely there's something to explain that, I guess. It can't be that they're just like holding onto the fish and giving them cruel environments to live in. Because if there's one thing I know for certain, is that the fish the fish rights activists, they know their shit, and I'm pretty sure I've been told that that is not good conditions for them. They need a good tank with good water and stuff. They need stuff. You know, they're not just lifeless creatures. They're real living beings that whatever. I'm getting like so RSPCA about it, but it's true. It's true. Like, and I think if anything, that those fish are probably a testament to how they just treat their clients in a way. I think that the environment signifies how they treat things. And to me, those fish are not being treated properly at all. Now, there could be another thing to it. They could maybe take the fish home with them at the end of a workday and put them in their big tank. Maybe they just want to keep an eye on their fish during the workday. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good thing to do though, because isn't there a thing where fish need to have like the same water? It's like when you move fish from one tank to another, you have to make sure that water from their previous tank is in the next tank or something? Holy shit, how did I learn so much about fish care? Anyway, um, I don't really know that much. I'm remembering things, bits and bobs, and I don't know if it applies to all fish, but I think that's a thing. Anyway, um, towels and capes look unclean or reused without washing. No. So it looked a little bit dirty, I guess, in some places, but I guess where it matters, I guess there was some sanitization, I suppose. Or couldn't really tell you though. Yeah. Um, unlicensed stylists. Now, I don't know too much about Australian stylist licensing. I don't know if it's like I don't know. I don't know how like serious it is. I don't think I've ever been to a stylist where I've been like, "Oh, there's your degrees and stuff." It's not something I look out for because I didn't know it was something to really look out for, but I think now in the future I will definitely be scoping it out a little bit. Yeah. Alright, lack of consultation. Now, this was one that was really big that I should have thought more about, but I didn't. And the last time I went to a hair professional, they ask you all sorts of questions like, has your hair been dyed before? Is it like virgin hair? When was the last time, if so, when was the last time you dyed it? You know, stuff like that. What kind of products do you use in your hair? You know, I think that would have been such a good thing for this one to ask me, because I've started putting like oil in like the midsection to ends of my hair. I do hair oiling like after every shower almost. And that's to like try and keep it like healthy and hydrated and stuff, and oh, it's been so nice for my hair. But I was reading the day before the appointment that like, oh, maybe it's not a good idea to oil the hair because it can influence the way the dye attaches to your hair. So I didn't do it for like 2 days before the appointment. I didn't do it, and I even washed it the day of the appointment. So I feel like I'm clear there. And if I wasn't, the lady should have had a consultation. This is one thing that I think is an absolute must-have, is a consultation. Someone who just goes, yeah, we'll just do that, and they don't ask you any questions about your hair beforehand. That's like a recipe for disaster, because there are so many times when hairstylists are trying to do a hair coloring on someone, and a person lies about their hair coloring history, and it totally fucks up what the hair dye looks like. And then the person goes, "Oh yeah, I guess like a month ago I did get it bleached. That's crazy." So, in retrospect, I think it's insane that she didn't ask me any questions. I think it's positively, absolutely, radically crazy. So, yeah. Um, yeah, preferences or desired outcome. It was like a very short conversation about that. And yeah, I just, yeah, I feel like, regret that I didn't think of these things in the moment, but I think that the next time I do something, I'm going to be a lot more vigilant. We got item number 4. No portfolio or reviews. Okay, so this is something I do a lot, which is I will check reviews for places like religiously, kind of. And I remember checking out this place a while ago, looking at the reviews, and at the time I thought a lot. I didn't like think much of a lot of the negative reviews, because sometimes it's like, okay, there's like an explanation for this, and I noticed that with every negative review, she had replied and given like some kind of like, I guess, thoughtful response of like how the person who wrote the negative review was actually wrong. And there were some cases where I was like, oh, okay, fair. But then there were other cases that I feel like are not um aren't ones that you can really ignore or explain away. And there was this one review that stuck out to me, which was someone saying, my mother had to pay X amount of money for this, which was, it was really expensive, by the way. And now her hair is totally fucked. You didn't, he, she, I don't know. They didn't say the word fucked, but her hair was totally fried. And after reading that review, I felt like, oh shit, like, oh, this has happened to somebody before. I don't necessarily think I'm fried, but I think that the frying would result from keeping dye in for way too long and not fucking paying attention to it, which is what I felt happened to me. So, seeing that review, I was like, oh, this has happened to more than one person. Like, this is like now a pattern of mistakes. Okay? And yes, I realize I'm being very dramatic about hair. Okay? I get that. Let me have my moment, okay? Um, and I was even looking at like the Instagram, I was looking at the pictures and having this was like the aftermath. I was like having my regret crisis stage, and I was looking at all the pictures, and I noticed this trend where like all of the hair that she has done previously that she's posted of, it's not anything that's like what I've had done. So in a way, I kind of have a feeling that like maybe they weren't as prepared for like the thing that I want, and they're more used to working with very, I don't know, different hairstyles. Like I could see a trend. I could see a trend in the way hair was being done, and I have come to the conclusion that they were just not like experienced in this kind of thing, right? So that's kind of what I think. And I do think that in a way, uh, they just didn't have the dye that would suit what I wanted exactly. And I do realize that there is no way to get like exactly picture perfect, I think. I think a lot of people do manage to make it happen. And I don't think it would have been possible for it to happen for me, but I think if they don't have the materials for it, then they're not going to be able to replicate what I want or reproduce it. And so, in some viewpoint I have, is I think that they just didn't want to refuse anyone's service. They didn't want. Sorry, my throat's getting all. They didn't want to refuse any service. They wanted the money. To be honest, they probably even need the money. So they just went, this is as good as it gets. But I feel like if I went somewhere else more professional, it would have been very different. I have that vibe, and I feel like I probably sound like an asshole, and I'm trying not to, but I know that like in this economy, uh, people who suppliers, they're like increasing their prices and shit, so that makes businesses, even small business, independent businesses, also need to hike up their prices. I understand that, and I think everyone's feeling the tightness of the economy, so I think that's leading businesses to overbook things, then they get distracted, or it's leading people to just feel like they have to take every job that they can to keep business afloat. And I kind of wonder if that's something that happened here because I don't know. But then you have to think about like the general lack of care. I don't feel like they cared about the outcome for me. I don't think they cared at all. And that makes me I think that's like the one thing that makes me like really angry is that it feels like they ironically rushed the service. Once like the dye was like out of my hair, they spent like 2 seconds like doing my hair, drying it and shit, and then I guess that was it. But also just like the poor communication. I mean, I don't know. I expected a lot more, and I think the next time I get my hair done, I'll be a lot more firmer with these things, I reckon, because this time around I feel like I let myself be like pushed around a little bit too much. Okay, pushed around is probably like so crazy to say, but I feel like I need to be more pushy about these things. Like, I need to be more prepared to be like, oh, you're not going to do this? I'm actually going to go. I'm actually not going to do this because I don't trust your service. I need to be more like, I guess, head head forth. I need to have a spine actually. I don't know. Outdated techniques or products. Now, I can't really say anything about that because I have no clue. They don't seem up to date with current trends or techniques. Dude, I can tell you that, like, based on how the boss woman styled herself, I don't think she's up to current styles and dates. I don't think she's been on the internet for forever, which, I'm sorry, it's kind of rude. It is kind of rude. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm being so bitchy, sorry. Okay, but who gives themselves like a fucking silver Karen cut? A silver Karen cut. That is balls. God damn. I will say that the pictures on like their Instagram and stuff, they were pretty beautiful. Like they do know how to do some styles, just not the style I wanted. Otherwise they would have examples of that. Yeah, prices are not clearly listed or seem to change arbitrarily. Yes, that happened to me. 100%. Alright, I'm gonna give you the skinny on the cost because, to be fair, the cost wise, the stream paid for it. My streaming thing paid for it itself. So yeah, at first they said it was gonna be around $80. Okay, cool. And then when I get to the counter, she's like, total comes up to you for $108. Hmm. Hmm. Sorry? I mean, I didn't really argue it or anything. They don't even give you like a receipt or she didn't explain anything. She just said, "Yeah, it's 108." And I'm like, I mean, if you say so, I guess I can't really argue with that. And then in one of the reviews I read that they said they charge based on hair length, and I have to say that when I had my really, really long hair, my hair was so long that I could extend my arm out straight and my hair would come with my arm. It was my arm's length. It went all the way down my back. And when I got that done with highlights, that cost I think like 300. No, I think that might have cost like 200 actually. Yeah, I think it was like 200 or something. Which, by the way, is still a lot of money to spend on hair, but back then I saved up and I was like, I'm gonna get my hair done. And they, I think, also kind of said they charged on length, but to be fair, I was in that salon for like 4 hours. It was a really tough job. Like, they earned that money. Seriously. Whereas this was like, let's see, I went in at 1, and I think I was out by like 2:50, 3 o'clock. Yeah. So unexpected charges or hidden fees. I think someone else in like one of the negative reviews they did say that the prices seemed like arbitrary, well not arbitrary, but like they did seem to be hiked up a little bit more. So I don't know. Maybe they haven't updated their website and that now it's like standard like 100 or something. I'm not saying I expect a hair color to be cheap, but I think I'd expect a little bit more like forewarning, I guess. And if they haven't updated their website, then that's another example of just like unprofessionalism. I think that not many people understand how important a up-to-date and clear website is. Websites are king. For us antisocial people who like to stay indoors, websites are like love them. No patch tests for chemical treatments. Okay. This one I'm kind of on the fence about because I don't think I've ever been anywhere that does patch testing. I know it's very important and I think that it'd be good to offer it, but the problem with patch testing is that usually you need to wait 24 hours because some people can have delayed responses. And so I don't really know how that would work with a salon unless they got you to come in the day before to do a patch test. Hey, I'm already coming up with solutions. Yeah, so I don't know about that. I definitely wasn't offered anything like that, so I don't know if they should be offering it. But I'm not aware if it's like a standard part of the service. So we'll let that one slide, I guess. Negative atmosphere. The staff appears unhappy or unprofessional. There is a noticeable lack of customer service. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. The customer service part, I guess yeah, unfortunately I kind of see it. There was a lack of that in a way. I feel like for such a long time there was nothing really happening and I wasn't really explained anything. I wasn't explained like, okay, at this time we'll wash out your hair, blah 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 blah. It should be done at this time. We'll see. Yada yada yada. Um there was nothing like that. And then the staff appear unhappy or unprofessional. Okay. I think there was like a moment where the boss lady was doing someone's hair, or I think it was the girl who was going to her formal, and she needed some things clipped, and then she was like, "Get my clips, get my clips." And then there was another time when the assistant needed to wash out my hair, and she was in like the back room or something, and she was like, "Assistant, can you please wash her hair?" But she sounded like very I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I might be reading too much into it, but I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if she's happy, if the assistant is happy in that workplace, good for her, but I do think that she was doing all of the work, and I hope she's getting paid well for that because she was doing a lot. Yeah. Lack of product knowledge. The stylist cannot explain the products you're using or recommend inappropriate products for your hair type. So there were a few times when the assistant was like, "Oh, she was looking for the boss lady to help her with something because there were certain things that she could not do, and so she had to get the boss lady to do them." Um, so I guess that kind of falls under lack of product knowledge, but I also think it's kind of fucked up to let like an apprentice do someone's hair and not even explain that that's what's going to be happening. Like, if I'm paying for a professional stylist, feel like I feel like I should get the professional stylist. I don't know. Or maybe hair coloring is supposedly such an easy job that like anyone can fucking do it. In which case it's like, okay, why the fuck am I here then? Yeah, I think that's just the explanation now. The next time I want my hair colored, I think I just gotta go box dye. I know so many people go, don't do box dye, it's so terrible for your hair. And it's like, well, babes, I think dyeing your hair in general is not good for it. Like, please. If the if I don't know, if the cashier at Off Your Tree has dyed their hair like 20 times with box dye and it's still going, I think I'm okay. Yeah, so I don't know, high turnover rate. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I tried to look on Glassdoor to see if there was any people who were previous employees of the business. The business doesn't even have a Glassdoor account or whatever. I couldn't find it, so I don't know. I don't know about that. The salon does not keep records of your past visits, which can be crucial for consistent service. I don't think they have much of like a recording thing. You know, their front desk service was just like a fishbowl, and then like that was it. Yeah. Yeah, so then I said, how long should hair dye be in your hair before rinsing it out? Permanent hair dye, typically 30 to 45 minutes. Hmm. And that's permanent hair dye. Which I understand that I've had my damn hair dyed so, like, well, a couple times. Yeah. I've had it done a couple times at home, and then, you know the story. Anyway, I also know a lot of people who dyed their hair. hmm I was there to witness it, and every single time it's always been that kind of duration, 30 to 45 minutes. Nothing fucking crazy like almost 2 hours. Okay? Then there's semi-permanent, which is like 20 to 30, and then whatever. We're not looking about those ones. So there's facts to consider. Hair type and condition. Thicker or more resistant hair may require longer processing time, while damaged or fine hair might need less time. Now, I think my hair is actually kind of thick. I don't think it's actually fine. So I can see that being a factor. Desired intensity. For more vibrant color, you might leave the dye on for the maximum recommended time. Yeah. It's always a good idea to perform a strand test before full application. That was not done. That was not done one fucking bit. Holy shit. And I do know strand tests are like, well, I know the professionals do them. So what I'm learning here now is that I did not go to a professional. Hmm. Yeah. Always adhere to the manufacturer's instructions. Avoid over processing. Leaving dye in for too long can damage your hair and lead to uneven color results. I got uneven color results. I know you probably can't fucking see it, but I'm telling you. I was talking to Caleb Friday evening when he was on his way back home, and we were on the phone, and I was saying to him, "Oh, it's not that good. It's like really fucking bright on top, and then the rest is like so unnoticeable." And the moment Caleb came home, he was like, "Where are you?" And then he looked at my hair, and he was like, "Yeah, I see what you mean." Oh, that's really the reaction I want from my. I'm not blaming him, by the way. Um, he's totally valid in thinking that because I thought that. I'm just saying that, like, I'm supposed to leave the hair salon, and my man's supposed to come home and be like, "Ooh," and that's not what happened. I promised myself an experience, and I didn't get it. um, okay, monitor development. Check your hair periodically during processing time to ensure the desired color is developing. Yeah, that didn't happen one bit. No, not once between the boss lady doing her own hair and yapping with her sister did she ever come over, have a look, and be like, "Oh yes, I can see it's going well. Oh, I can see. I actually we might need to start washing it now. Okay." No, nothing like that happened. Okay, so then I said, "Would you say that hair dye sitting in a hair for an hour and a half is bad?" Yes. It can result in hair damage. Overprocessing can lead to breakage, dryness, and overall damage. Oh yeah, and scalp irritation. I don't think I have any scalp irritation, but I did notice some irritation around the front here. I don't know what that's about. It could have been because I was wearing a beanie to hide my shame the other day. And wool, I am apparently allergic to. So, yay! Uneven color, patchiness. It's so frustrating because I feel like people do not. I don't want people to misunderstand and think that I'm making a big deal out of something that like is not real. I cannot emphasize that even people in real life who have seen my hair have gone, yeah, it's crazy up top. And I know that it's probably hard to see on camera through a screen. I have to say it though. I have to reiterate it. This does not look the same. And I'll keep repeating it. Okay. Yeah, so it leads to unpredictable results. And I had to say, I wish I took a picture of like the example hair she showed me because the example hair doesn't even look like what I ended up with. Yeah. What's the fucking point of showing an example hair if you can't even make it that? I don't know. So then there's exceptions and considerations. So professional supervision. Sometimes professional colorists may adjust processing time based on their expertise and the specific needs of your hair. Um, so that makes sense. Take into account that according to her, my hair is already light to begin with, so it should take the dye well. Let's say I consider it kind of thick. I think it is thick. I think I do have thick hair, yeah, because if I put in like a ponytail, it's like that is so much fucking hair. It's also like naturally curly too. So anyway, I don't know what that has to do with it. But the she kind of gave me two conflicting things as well. I asked her before I left. I said, "Oh, do I need some color safe shampoo and conditioner?" And she was like, "Yep, yep. You can buy some here. We offer it here, or you can go somewhere else." I went somewhere else, by the way. And she was actually gonna let me leave without like telling me anything about aftercare. That's insane to me. Like, I had to go and ask her when I feel like it should be standard practice to be like, okay, so you got your hair dyed this color. I need you to know that these are the care instructions. It's like, there needs to be more of a professional service that, and it is just lacking in professionalism through and through. And if they thought that I needed a longer time for the dye to be in my hair, they should have communicated that to me because, damn, I'm carrying out. Look, the last thing I'm gonna do is go back there and get it fixed because I don't even trust them to do that. I don't. Why should I trust or even give more money to like the people who fucked it up in the first place? That's like, bruh. I think Einstein said something about that. Yeah, so I just think like I got jibbed, and all weekend I felt like I got scammed. You know, it's like the Ace family made a fucking hair salon. Joking. Joking. I don't know anything about the Ace family or allegations. I don't know. I can tell I'm getting a bit silly now, but yeah, look, I don't know. I think it was a lot worse when I first got back. I mean, it's still pretty bad. Like, I just, it's still so red. I feel like, um, one of the, have you ever seen Shameless, the TV show? I feel like the redhead kid from Shameless. What's his name? Ian, is it Ian Gallagher or something? I don't know. I'm gonna put a picture up of him. Be like, I look like him. I look like Queso. Yeah, I went to the salon and I said, give me Queso's hair color. On God. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I feel like I'm hoping that you're gonna come out of this video feeling like you know a little bit more about like this stuff in case you ever decide to go to a hair salon and you want to know what's what and what to look out for. This is the video. I'm going through it all at the moment. I haven't even gone through the rest of my weekend. We're still on Friday. Okay. I said, are there any dyes that recommend leaving dye in for an hour and a half? Are there any? Because maybe there are. Maybe there are. Maybe the type of hair that I wanted requires that. But, oh yeah, right, she said two conflicting things, which also make me call into question her professionalism because she did say, um, right, I was like, oh, is it gonna fade? Like, how is that? How is it gonna take? Color safe conditioner, blah blah blah. She was like, yeah, your hair is very light to begin with, so that means that I'm not really worried about it fading too much. I think it's gonna stay relatively like vibrant because I have light hair to begin with. Allegedly, I've never been told that. Um, so yeah, there's that whole thing with the lightness. Oh god, I'm trying to remember what the other thing was, but I'm kind of forgetting it. What was the other thing? I don't remember now. Shit. Shit. Fuck, I had like. Oh, right, no, I just remembered. So, if I have light hair already, what does that mean for the hair dye? That means, I think, that the hair dye will need to be put in for maybe like the standard amount of time, but it shouldn't need to be in for any longer than standard to develop because it's light. You know, the reason why people get their hair bleached, especially people with like black, really dark hair much more darker than mine. That's why they always need to have their hair bleached before doing things. You know, it's like with Caleb. Caleb would need his hair bleached because his hair is a like a chestnut. Is it like chestnut dark color or something? Whereas according to her, my hair is light enough. But then that calls into question, why would it be in for an hour and a half? Like it's either one or the other, babes. It can't be both at the same time. I don't think. I'm not a professional, but that doesn't make sense to me. So I have to say, like, I think they fucked up. And I think that it's like basically confirmed in my mind. It's a fact in my opinion that I got fucked. And not in the fun way. Okay, so let's see. Exceptions in special cases, bleaching and lightening treatment sometimes require longer processing times, but it's typically monitored closely to avoid damage. But I wasn't bleaching. I don't I don't think you can color and bleach at the same time. I don't think you mix. Do you mix bleach and color? I don't really know, I guess. I guess hmm. Bleaching slash lightening treatments. I think it can probably be considered a lightening treatment, so you know, I don't know. No, I feel pretty confident that I just cooked there. I just cooked up a good meal. You cannot say I have light hair and then make it process for longer. There we go. There we go. Wait. What if I asked it? Hold on, I'm getting my laptop out. Hold on, I need to ask ChatGPT. If my hair is already very, very light, would I still need to leave dye in past the recommended time in order to get ideal results? I don't know if I worded that very well. No, if your hair is already very light, you generally do not need to leave the dye in past the recommended time to achieve ideal results. In fact, doing so can lead to several issues, including hair damage, scalp irritation, unpredictable color outcomes. Yep. Although I'm surprised that there isn't really any scalp irritation. I don't think there is. I haven't noticed anything, which is quite impressive for me. Although I could be, I don't know. Overprocessing can lead to overly intense or uneven color. Unwanted tones may develop. Like, yeah, I've been trying in my mind to think like, oh, surely it's just something I don't know, and it's not their fault. It's just yeah. But if I've learned anything from going to therapy, it's that if I'm feeling a certain way, it's for a fucking reason, and I'm not going to dismiss my feelings or make excuses for other people. I'm just never gonna go there ever again, sadly. Which sucks because I really liked the atmosphere. I thought it was awesome. Um, apart from the sad fish and the dusty vents. Oh yeah, I was like stifling a sneeze the entire time I was in there. Oh, and not to mention, this is another thing. The woman is the boss lady is like spraying hair fucking styling shit, aerosol things all over the fucking chick who's like next to me, who's going to her formal. And these aerosol cans have all these fucking chemicals and they're wafting over into the fish bowl that's right behind her. And I'm like thinking about it again and I'm like, holy shit, that's so bad for the fish. Those fish are probably fucking tripping balls in there. And I get that it has a filter, but I don't think that's good for the fish. Is this good for the fish? Oh my god. I'm just so. I'm telling you, I've been losing sleep over it. I've been having a hard time to get into sleep because I think of another thing and it makes me angry. Ugh. And I think I just feel so upset that I even said I liked it in the first place. I think the salon lights are like they're lying to you, man. I looked fine in the salon and then I I got home and I looked in fucking real lighting and I was like, this is fucked. Fucking liars, man. Yeah. So that was my Friday. Now I have to talk about Saturday because Saturday was awful. So we're kind of gonna give like a update on the SSRI withdrawals. It's bad. Yeah. It got really bad on Saturday. I was feeling so irritable about like so many different things. Like I was trying to play League of Legends and I was getting so irritated by my mouse. And it's like really inane things that wouldn't necessarily get me mad in the first place. Like my mouse has this cable on the left side. I'm so used to using a mouse that has a cable that runs from the middle. And then not only that, but it felt like the cable was like dragging my mouse weirdly. So I kept like losing my mind over it. I wasn't getting like super visibly angry, but I could feel internally like I was like losing it. So I was like, shit, I've got to go do something else. I can't be here. But then that made me more sad because like playing video games is like it's like my fun time, my happy fun time. I don't like to lie down and not do anything and just watch TikTok because then I feel like I could do that any other time of the day. I want to spend my weekend having fun and doing the things that I want to do. So, I got really upset and I started like it's just a bunch of different things that have been like mounting up, and because I was in such a vulnerable state from the withdrawals, I was just like on the verge of losing it. So I go and scurry into my room alone and I start bawling, I start crying, going, ah! I'm laughing now, but like at the time I felt like so deeply unhappy because I was like tired of feeling irritable, tired of feeling like this weird vertigo, like whoa. Like I'm telling you, I still feel it even today. I think it's gotten a lot better, but I'm sensitive to sound. I just like bleh, you know? So I started crying, and then Caleb came. He was like, "Oh, I wonder where Catherine went. What is she up to?" And he was like he was very supportive and very kind, and he asked me to explain what was making me upset, and then he fixed everything. He said that if I really don't like my hair in like a week or something, we can go and get like a box dye and try and do something about it, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just let it go for a bit. But then I was telling him about my mouse and how my mouse was like giving me grief. I think it like sucks extra because like I don't buy new things like ever. My fucking decade old Logitech mouse was fine. I just wanted to get a new mouse because the bottom of it was so like the bottom of it has like these rubber like mat things, or like I don't know if it's rubber. I think it's like something for like non-slip, right? But those things had like crumbled a bit. I mean, after 10 years, I guess you got to expect some wear and tear. So it was kind of like catching on my mouse pad a bit, and I didn't really want to fuck up my cute little mouse pad anymore. So I at one time we went to JB Hi-Fi and I kind of impulsively bought a mouse thinking, it's a new mouse. How's it going to be worse than my 10-year-old mouse? Famous last words, I guess. So, I have been having so many troubles with my new mouse. I have been really trying to give it a good go and like get used to it because like, sometimes when you change things, it sucks. Anyway, I digress. Don't buy Corsair products. I hate Corsair. I hate Corsair so much. I I'm so upset. It's like it used to be my go-to brand. I know I'm diverging off topics again. Actually, no, it is relevant. Guys, here's some tech reviews. Corsair sucks, and here's why. They have a um firmware application that you install on your PC called IQ. It fucking sucks. It's shit because it never updates correctly. My keyboard's firmware is like bugged, so now my keyboard doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't work ideally. Sometimes it's glitchy and just doesn't work. My mouse that was Corsair, my brand new Corsair mouse, has a double click bug that I have been trying to fucking fix, and apparently you can only fix it by going back a couple of updates, but you can only get the old version if you contact support yourself. I'm fucking done. The moment it requires me to contact a fucking human being, and this double click issue for the Corsair mouse has been going for 4 years. 4 years and they haven't figured it out. What is it? No other mouse has this problem. So you know what I say? Fuck you, Corsair. Fuck you. I'm so over Corsair. And like, they used to be really good. I don't know, or maybe they used to be really good. Is it just me? Anyway, yeah. So I cried a bunch Saturday, and then Caleb made it all better, which is like, I love it. It's so great. Yeah. He fixed all my problems actually. He went on my PC for like an hour and he fixed my mouse problem, he fixed my monitor problem, he fixed my League of Legends FPS because I noticed that they had been capped at 60. Whatever, who fucking cares? All you need to know is Caleb fixed everything. So he deserves a cake or something. Yeah, and then Sunday was a little bit more like flatter for me. I think I felt a little bit better from the withdrawals, but I also felt very like bleh. And I did some gardening as well, which felt good, and I did some cleaning. But then I kind of just lost all motivation, and then later on I did Pilates, and I didn't feel good doing it. Like usually when I'm doing it, I feel like any exercise, I feel like yes, I'm doing a good thing. It feels good. It's got to be good, right? And this time I was just getting so frustrated again. I was getting so agitated. Sorry, excuse me. And I get that when you're learning a new exercise and stuff, or learning new exercise techniques and shit, it takes a while to get used to it and to like learn it, like really learn it. But I just did not have the patience last night, yo. So I don't know. I'm just hoping that the withdrawals don't continue for too much longer because I could really use not having to deal with it, but whatever. At least today I'm not feeling too bad. I'm not feeling like the side effects as much. I think like I keep moving my head from side to side because like that's my way of testing it. I know it's a weird way to test it, but yeah. So, um I think that you had to go through the worst part of it to get to like the other side of it. So, I just got to say don't let it discourage you from trying antidepressants because all the stuff that I managed to do while I was on them, I was like a completely different person in like a good way, in a very positive, good way. And it helped me form habits that are really good. And I'm continuing those habits, so that's awesome. And I think as hard as the withdrawals have been, I wouldn't trade it for all the stuff I got the past like year. And there's an end date to the withdrawals. There's no like it's not gonna happen forever. So I think I'm starting to feel more positive about it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's good. I like that. And in saying that, let's end it on a positive note. I think that despite everything, I don't mind my hair too much. In fact, I think it doesn't look terrible, I suppose, but I think it's more like the experience really rubbed me the wrong way. And I know that it's going to eventually fade and look maybe a bit more like less like Carrot Top. I'd love to look less like Carrot Top. So, yeah, I think it'll be okay. It's not what I wanted, but um I'm glad I did it, I guess. It was a learning experience if anything. So, yeah, I think next time I get my hair done, I'll search for someone a lot more professional and really take the time to to look. At least now I know what to look for. I think before I was like kind of looking, but I had no idea what I needed to think about. So, yeah. Let this be a learning experience for all of us and go to professionals and yeah. And that's all I have to say about that. Oh my god, it has been I actually genuinely wasn't sure if this would take the whole episode, just me whining about my hair, but I guess it's like for once in my life something happened. I went out and I did things. League of Legends player goes outside. So it is kind of a lot to talk about, isn't it? All right. Well, I'm gonna leave it there for today. I've got to go. I've got to go start my stream. So I will catch you next week. And oh my god, we'll do a hair update next week. Oh my god, what happened to my hair? Has it faded? Ugh. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. For even though completely negative, completely yeah, negative. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next week. And you know what? If you want to see more of this type of stuff for whatever reason, you can always pop into the stream. We love newcomers. Yeah, we have a nice community, I think. Hmm. All right. I will see you next week. Goodbye. Bwah.